And a good evening to you, race fans. Welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk, the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. I'm Jake Wilson. Happy to be back with you again here this week, where we are going to take a look back at the weekend that was at the Florida Governor's Cup at New Smyrna Speedway, as well as getting a preview and getting you set and ready to go for the 10th running of the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128, coming up at the Freedom Factory on Saturday, November the 29th. We're going to be joined a little bit later on here on the program by none other than Billy Bigley Jr. himself. He sat down with Aaron Wilcoxon and had a great chat with Billy. Good to catch up with him. Hard to believe that we're already 10 years into the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128, but we'll catch up with Billy and get you set and ready to go for what's going to be an awesome weekend at the Freedom Factory coming up Thanksgiving weekend. But we want to start, we're going to start in Florida. It was the 60th edition of the Florida Governor's Cup this last weekend at New Smyrna Speedway. A race that has a ton of history, a ton of prestige. Some of the biggest names in short track racing history have been Florida Governor's Cup winners, and for a lot of drivers in the state of Florida, it's a huge, huge deal if you can get your name added to the list of winners. And we had a great race this last weekend as the Southern Super Series sanctioned the race. It was their final points race of the season. So a lot on the line, not only the big payday, the big prestige factor, but also an opportunity to claim a championship was on the line this last Saturday at New Smyrna Speedway. And if we go and we take a look back at how this race shook out, remember it's a 200-lap race. Early on, you saw part of the program, Spencer Davis, have a really good start to the race. But very early on, he was under pressure and under fire from the driver out of Porters Lake, Nova Scotia. Cole Butcher has been on an absolute tear the last couple of years in the short track world, and it would only be fitting if he would go ahead and add his name to that list of winners. And not only could he become the winner of the Florida Governor's Cup, but he could also claim the Southern Super Series championship, which he won the ASA National Stars Championship. He claimed that back at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway a couple weekends ago with the All-American 400. And once Butcher was able to get around Davis, that's all she wrote. Butcher was able to hold off a pretty stout field of cars. While not necessarily the greatest field in terms of number of cars, but the quality of cars and the quality of drivers that were there for the Florida Governor's Cup this year. You had Gavin Bushell, you had Colby Howard, you had George Phillips, Matt Craig was there, Stephen Nassy. You also had Max Reeves, who's been making some hay in the pro late model and in the super late model world as well. You had Brad May, who's just been who's unbelievable throughout the regular season there at the New Smyrna Speedway. And you know if you're gonna win the Governor's Cup, you got to beat Brad May, because Brad has been something special at New Smyrna Speedway for the past for years now. But for Cole Butcher, what a way to wrap up the Southern Super Series championship, as he is the champion here in 2025 by 41 points over Matt Craig. Gavin Bushell was able to finish in third. Bubba Pollard came into the race as the points leader, but did not attend the Florida Governor's Cup, so he was not able to get the points. Butcher was able to take advantage of that, and Butcher not only the ASA Stars national champion, but now the Southern Super Series champion as well. So he's definitely going to be locked in for the Derby this year. And Butcher and the Donnie Wilson Racing team, they're certainly going to be a team that you got to keep an eye on, and definitely going to be a threat to go after the win and get that Tom Dawson Trophy coming up here in a couple of weeks at Pedola. So big weekend there for the folks at New Smyrna Speedway. You also had the Sportsman Series. They were in action as well. Dodge Carlbert, who was the defending champion of the UARA Sportsman Series, came up one spot short. Earl Becker Jr. Got the win in the Sportsman race that took place on Saturday. That was the prelude to the Cup. Jason Vale took home the win in the 100-lap pro late model race. Held off Brody Gunter as well as Brad May. Jade Avedizian made a start, as well as Eugene Tuminello. That was your top five of the pro late models. I had mentioned you also had Modifieds of Mayhem were in the house as well for a 75 lapper. And tell me where you've heard this before. Cody Stickler got it done and got another win in the Modifieds of Mayhem. He held off Tank Tucker and Richie Smith to round out the podium. And I mentioned in the Sportsman, Earl Beckner Jr. got the win in their 50-lap feature. Pretty good field of Sportsman for them at New Smyrna as he held off Dodge Carlbert and Cody Struble. That was your podium finishers there in the Sportsman class. And then on the Sunday with the Governor's Cup, they had Pro Trucks in action, good field of Pro Trucks there as well. And George Gorham Jr., who's had just an incredible year in Pro Trucks, whether it's at New Smyrna, whether it's up at Cordele, wherever that truck has gone with George behind the wheel, they've been able to get it done. George got the win in that 50-lap feature. He held off Palmer Hag, and JT Chastain rounded out the podium in that one. So all in all, good Governor's Cup weekend. 60th edition is in the books. And now we turn our attention to the Freedom Factory. It'll be the 10th running of the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 coming up Saturday, November the 29th. It's going to be streamed live on Racing America. I'll be on the call alongside Jason Beckner, former voice of 417 Southern Speedway, where the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial was held from years 2 through 7. He's currently the voice of the Hendry County Speedway, the southernmost dirt track in the continental United States. He's going to jump up in the booth and help me call the action here in a couple of weeks. We're also going to be joined by Ashton Smith, who, if you've been watching the World of Outlaws late models at all this year, she's done a great job pit reporting for them. She's going to do those same duties for us with the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial coming up here on Racing America. Again, that's Saturday, November the 29th. Tickets are still available for that race. You can get them at The Foat. That's TheFoat.com/Freedom Factory. You're going to want to look for the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial icon. Click on that. Get your tickets for Saturday. There's still plenty of tickets still available for that. But this is going to be, I think as we get closer and closer, tickets are going to start to sell a little bit more. And I do believe, I got a note earlier today that we did get a 51st entrant to the race yet. I don't believe UARA has announced who that driver is yet. So I'm going to hold off on announcing who that is. But we are up to 51 entries for the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128. And I wouldn't be surprised now that the Governor's Cup, that we've gotten through that, don't be surprised if when we get to about a week or so out, you might see, once we get inside this next week, I think you might see another couple names pop up that we're wanting to try to get through Governor's Cup weekend. And sometimes drivers just aren't sure. Maybe they haven't got their stuff dialed in just yet, but once they get closer, they're like, okay, now we're set and ready to go. We've seen that in years past where we'll get somebody that'll register about 3, 4, maybe 5 days before the event. So we're up to 51 cars. I'm still hoping we get to that 55 number. That would be incredible. And it's looking like it's going to be a record-setting year for the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128. Just looking at the entries that we have for this, obviously the names that are gonna draw the most attention are the names that are coming in from NASCAR. Carson Hocevar, NASCAR Cup Series driver, Rookie of the Year in 2024. He's going to be teaming up with the Richie Waters Motorsports team, and he is going to be at the Freedom Factory competing with the for the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial Champion title. But he's got an opportunity to also be the UARA National Champion. It's going to be a $30,000 payday, plus there's about $3,000 in additional bonus money that you could win. So it could be a $33,000 payday. And that could be enough where if Carson is able to win and a couple of drivers that are also up in the money have a little bit of difficulty, Carson could become the national champion of the UARA National Tour. So keep an eye on that. One of his teammate in the race is going to be in the other Richie Waters Motorsports car, is going to be Johnny Sauter, who we've seen pilot this car in the last two Bill Bigley Senior Memorials. He was the runner-up 2 years ago, had a little bit of a disappointing year last year, but he did win the Bigley tune-up last year. So we'll see if Johnny and that team are dialed in a little bit better this year than they were last year. Those two cars are certainly going to be a threat. And, oh, yeah, the defending winner of the race, who absolutely dominated last year, Ty Majeski, is going to look to only become the second driver ever to win this race in back-to-back years. He's going to try to do what Michael Atwell did a few years back. So Ty, those are the big three that kind of have that NASCAR flair. But we mentioned Michael Atwell. He comes in as the UARA National money leader, picking up 2 wins this year. He won the Rattler 250 earlier this year, and he also won earlier this year in the also joining him, I'm getting a little sidetracked here, it's going to get complicated because the money starts to tighten up when you look at it. He had 2 wins for Atwell. He got the win at Mobile. He also had the win at South Alabama earlier this year. But don't forget about Colin Allman. Colin Allman's a driver who I think Atwell and Allman are kind of waving the banner right now for Florida, for one of our Florida representatives to win this race. Remember, Allman got the win at the Bigley Tune-Up back at the Freedom Factory back in May. Also got the win at the Grill Memorial at South Alabama earlier this year. So keep an eye on those two. You're also going to have Stephen Nasse a part of this as well. Anytime he shows up for a UARA event, he is always a threat. He's had some great runs and some great finishes, and it would be another big win for him and kind of one of those landmark victories if Nasse was able to get it done and get the win in the Bigley Memorial. And just kind of looking through some of the other entries, you got some other drivers that you don't necessarily see race down in Florida a whole lot that are making the trip. Casey Johnson, the ASA Midwest Tour champion, finished second in this race last year. He will be in attendance. You're also going to have a couple more drivers from up in the Midwest area. Brayson Bennett is going to be a part of this. You're also going to have Derek Griffith, some representation from the Northeast. We've got a few drivers coming from Maine. Griffith, of course, from New Hampshire. He ran this race a couple of years ago in the Fury House car, but he's bringing his own car down this year, the 12G that everybody's familiar with seeing him race up in the Northeast. So keep an eye on Derek Griffith this year. I think he's going to be somebody to keep an eye on. Out of the Grant Thormeyer Racing team, you're going to have Nick Neary, who won the Ingram Memorial earlier this year. He's going to be in attendance, and it was announced this last Saturday that the driver of the number 97 car coming up for the Bigley Memorial. And remember, that 97 car was the runner-up earlier this year in the Bigley Tune-Up, is going to be driven by asphalt sprint car phenom Colton Bettis. It was announced on Saturday night at the big Christmas party that Colton, young 16-year-old and the 2-time defending champion of the Southern Sprint Car Shootout Series, he's going to be jumping behind the wheel of the number 97, making a rare super late model start for him in that car as well. You're also going to have Levon Vandergeest, who competes in the ARCA Midwest Tour. He's coming down. Travis Cope, former Florida Governor's Cup champion, driver that we haven't seen a whole lot of in super late model racing the last few years. He's going to jump behind the wheel of his car. We're looking forward to see him. We're going to have Dylan Bigley, of course. Dylan and Michael Atwell, the only 2 drivers that have started every Bigley Memorial. And last year, Dylan took a provisional to get into the main race, started 28th, drove all the way up to 5th in 128 laps. I don't want to hear the whole, we couldn't pass last year. Tell that to Dylan Bigley. He went from 28th to 5th, and he was somebody to certainly keep an eye on. And I feel like this year, if they're a little bit more dialed in and they can qualify their way in a little bit better, keep an eye on that 28 car this year, especially with the 10th running of this race. You got the former winners. We mentioned Atwell. Jesse Dutilly, another 2-time winner. He's going to be in this race as well. Steve Dorr is also going to be a part of the Bigley Memorial. As we're just, continuing to go down the line here of drivers that are making the show here or making the attempt to make the show. How about the most recent winner on the Cars Tour on the late model stock side, getting the win for Junior Motorsports? Caden Quapple is going to make a start. He's teaming up in the number 32 car that's owned by Archie St. Hilaire in Go Fast Racing. And they are going to be a part of this race as well. So it's great to see Caden, a young talent that's really starting to make some hay. His brother Carson had a great year for Junior Motorsports, the Xfinity Series. So look forward to seeing Caden and seeing what he can do in this race coming up here in a couple of weeks. We mentioned Stephen Nasse, and talk about all the great drivers from Florida that are going to be a part of this. This has kind of become, I'm not trying to disrespect the Governor's Cup, because the Governor's Cup has the prestige, it has the longevity. But if you look at it over the course of the last 4 to 5 years, the number of entrants for this Bigley Memorial has continued to climb, and it has eclipsed the Governor's Cup and kind of become almost kind of like that state championship kind of style race, to where every Florida driver puts it on their calendar that we're going to go to the Bigley and we're going to try to make the show and make the best of it. Michael Hind is going to be a part of the race this year as well. He did not participate in this race last year. He was the 2024 World Crown 300 winner, so it's good to have Michael and his team back in the race as well. And like I said, we're up to 51 cars. I still think we're going to add, I don't know if we're going to get 55. 55 would be awesome, But realistically, I still think we have an opportunity to add at least maybe 2, maybe 3 more cars before it's all said and done. And it's going to be an awesome, awesome weekend. On Friday night, there's going to be a pit party. Practice is going to go on. It's going to go up until about 8 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, cars go in the trailer. And that's when the food's going to come out. Our friends at Blackburn's Barbecue out in Winter Haven, they are stepping up, and they are going to be providing the food and the catering for this pit party. We're looking forward to having that. And a big shout out again to Ricky Brooks and everybody with UARA. Shout out again to the Bigley family, Billy and teaming up with Ricky, and also the relationship they have with the Freedom Factory. Everything just kind of coming together to continue to make this event one of the biggest races of all time. You think about where this race started 10 years ago and now where it is now. I don't think a lot of people ever thought it would get this big. Never thought you'd get the likes of Ty Majeski, a Carson Hocevar, to want to come down and run this race consistently. But that's what you're seeing. You're seeing guys that are wanting to come down here and try it out. And once they do, they're like, you know what? We're putting that on our schedule. Casey Johnson, I interviewed him last night. I talked with him, and he's the same thing. He's like, I came down last year. I had my expectations, and my expectations got blown out of the water. So we made sure that we were going to support this race again. And that's what you're starting to see. You're seeing a lot of drivers that come down, experience it at that one time, and then decide, you know what, this is going to be a staple on our schedule, and we're going to continue to do this, and we're going to continue to come down and support this event. And it's awesome. Awesome to see all that. So we're looking forward to it. Should be a great night. I saw some pictures earlier today. They are working feverishly to get the track cleaned up. We had the 2.4 hours of Le Mullets there last weekend, where Carson Hocevar teamed up with Cletus McFarland and got the win in the race. So Hocevar, I joked on social media earlier, he has an opportunity to become the first driver ever to win the 2.4 hours of Le Mullets and the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial, and he has an opportunity to do it in the same year and within about 2 weeks of each other. So it'll be really cool to have Carson in the house. And again, just all the support from all the drivers, all the teams, and everybody coming together for this event. It is going to be awesome. And if you're not able to attend in person, which we hope you will, and it also is looking like the weather, it looks like we may have a cold front coming through right around Thanksgiving, which is going to drop the temperatures a little bit, should make it really, really comfortable, should make for a great night of racing and a great weekend at the Freedom Factory. We hope to see you there, but if you can't be there, don't forget, Racing America is going to have the stream. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll be on the call with Jason Beckner, and Ashton Smith is going to help us out as well. So that's what we've got coming up with the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128. We are going to go ahead and step aside here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. But when we come back on the other side, our Aaron Wilcoxon is going to sit down with Billy Bigley Jr. to talk about this incredible race and this incredible event as we get ready to run for the 10th time the race honoring Bill Bigley Sr. That'll be coming up here on the side here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it fast, just chillin'.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction. It's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Short Track Racing. Tonight on the show, we have Billy Bigley Jr. on with us to kind of preview the Bill Bigley Memorial, which is going to be here before we know it. It's in about just over 2 weeks. Welcome to the show, Billy Bigley Jr.
Thank you.
So yeah, kind of let's start back. It's the 10th annual this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kind of, when you started this 10 years ago, what were your kind of expectations? Did you ever anticipate that the race honoring your father would be as big as it is today?
Absolutely no. 10 years ago when we started it, the thing is I just wanted to do one or two and just to honor him for what he had done, not only in the sport, but, he was the man that would absolutely take a shirt off your back to help you.
Yeah.
He would help everybody involved. Even if we had an altercation one week, the next week, if that guy was sitting there with a broken part and we had a part, my dad would say, hey, take that part to him and see if he needs it, and I just kind of wanted to honor him in that way. And then after the first one we had up at DeSoto Speedway at the time, and then DeSoto Speedway was, John owned it, and then he had some people that were leasing it from him, and there was some issues and stuff. So then actually Joe and Janet Gentry had reached out and said they would like to bring it to 417 Speedway. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So then I think it was the next 6 years, we ended up being there, and it was great. I mean, it evolved from always 128 laps, always, we changed the format a little bit here and there. At first we didn't have enough cars to fill the field. So then what we ended up doing is, when we did, my dad was really big on taking care of everybody at the racetrack. So if, like he said, the guy that finishes last, it costs him just as much money in gas and tires and race fuel and pit entry as it does the guy that wins the race.
Yeah.
So in saying that, he, so then we kind of devised a plan to, have a non-qualifiers race. So then that way everybody on the grounds gets to race. If their car's not tore up or something doesn't happen or there's a miscue or whatever, and they can't race, it's not because it wasn't there. Like you go to some of these big races that if you don't make it through the qualifying race, you basically go home.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do that. We wanted to have everybody have a chance to earn a couple dollars and be able to race and, support their, have their family there if they're there, or their friends, their pit crew, their sponsors, and everything in between. So that's kind of what I wanted to do at first, just for the first couple.
Yeah.
And then it's taken off, and there's been so many people come up and ask me, like what, did you, like yourself, did you ever expect it to get, to this magnitude? And I didn't. And it's been a true honor. And, it's gotten with a lot of people involved. It's not just myself. It's not my family. It's been a lot of partners that have stepped up. It's been a lot of, free help. It's been a lot of just everything in general. I mean, all the way from, Keith Rogan making all our banners and doesn't charge us a dime for them. And, to, Robert at Sunshine State Racing, and just everybody involved, and all the competitors and everybody, saying, that you talk to them and they're like, oh, we're going to the Bigley, and it's been heartfelt. It's been very exciting.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming how much it's grown.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like you said, it is truly honoring your dad, especially with how many people are kind of giving back also, just as your dad did
Hmm.
to everyone. Kind of like you said, Rogan helping out with the banners. That's something that he doesn't have to do, but he loves doing it, and something that the way your dad would repay anybody too.
Hmm. Exactly.
Now
And the
looking
nice thing about it, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was going to say, looking back over the past like 10 years, do you have a specific race or memory throughout, whether it's with you and Dylan or anyone involved? Do you have a favorite memory or a favorite year that kind of sticks out the most to you?
Um, they all are all unique in their own way. I don't really have anything that's all it's one particular scenario or one particular race. And but the thing for me is just like, like the one night, that we didn't feel that we didn't understand. I mean, it was a side by side battle between Sergi and Jesse with like 5 or 8 laps to go, bumping, banging, bouncing off walls, bouncing off each other, and it went down to literally the last 10 feet before we knew who won.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that was done, it was almost like, my dad kind of, put a cloud over it, like a fog came in, and it's like you just dropped the mic and said, "You know what, boys, we're done. We did a good job. Let's go home." And
Yeah.
and that's really the way he was. I mean, he was true and true a hardcore racer. He loved to race. I mean, he was 74 years old when he passed, and he worked the day before his passing. I mean, he was at work because he said, we have more races to attend and we have more race cars to build. I mean, that's just truly who he was. He loved the sport. He loved doing it with the family. And then when my boys, his grandkids started coming up, and I could see a new spark in him, and it's just something that, like I said, that I wanted to honor a few years. And now it's been 10, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down at all. So we're pretty happy about it.
Yeah, and what are some of the it obviously, as you said, it's a whole community effort to make the event what it has grown to. Kind of what goes into the planning of the Bigley? I know you, on Sunshine State Racing, you kind of said that you and Ricky started planning back all the way in January. What's some of the stuff that you guys, that the fans and even the drivers don't really see, because so much goes into planning an event of this size?
Well, the biggest thing is just making sure that you've got, I mean, it goes all the way down to, making sure that we do a great job for the fans, we do a great job for the drivers, and we especially do a great job for the venue, which is now Freedom Factory. And we love going there. It's been a statement of my racing since I've started. I've been going there since like in the early 80s, and that just tells you how old I am. But anyway, so what had happened is we loved the place, and when it came available, when 417 closed, we didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't know if we were done. And at that time, Ricky had talked to Cletus, had talked to Josh, had talked to Ryan, and we were getting a few dates involved. And then, and I had asked Ricky, I said, look, this is beyond me now. It's gotten to the point where at the last race at 417, it was beyond me. So I asked him if he wanted to take the reins, and he runs a lot of stuff by me. I'll get to your question in a minute.
Oh, no, you're fine.
So what had happened is, once this all kind of began, and Ricky's taking the ball and run. Now, to answer your question, as soon as the race is going to be over on Saturday, a week from Saturday night, the thing is on Sunday morning, Ricky and I always talk. We don't talk about anything, how great it was. We don't talk about how anything bad it was. We just want to, is there anything that I've seen that we can do better at? Is there anything that we saw that we did really good at, but we could do this and achieve that? So we actually start talking like pretty heavily after. We usually kind of go idle till about the first of the year. And then it's like looking for sponsorship, looking for partners, looking for, like everything, pole money, lap money, just everything involved. And it's like at least every 2 weeks, Ricky and I will either touch base by text, or we'll touch base by talking to each other. If I see him at a sportsman event, or if I go to one of his, UARA national events, we talk about it and stuff like that. And, and we never stop trying to achieve more, because it's not about more for us. It's about more for the drivers. So if we can do better for the drivers, then we're going to get the fans, because just like this, I mean, last year, Ty Majeski, Casey Johnson, I mean, just all the guys, that came down from up north, Jeff Storm. I mean, everybody that came from all over, and, that have supported this thing. It's beyond, it's just beyond belief of how many people recognize this thing. And we tried to make it where it was not too long of a weekend.
Yeah.
And not to drag it out, and not to the point where it doesn't, take an arm and a leg to go there. And my whole plan and again, the plan in the future is even to be better. We want to pay more. We want to pay more to start. We want to pay more lap money. We want to do everything, but it's like they always say, you got to work before you can run. I mean, walk before you can run. So we're doing it a step at a time. We got it up to 30,000 and 1,200 to start. You basically only have to have one new set of tires for the race.
Yeah.
So that all plays into an effect, but it doesn't take one person. It takes a whole team, just like a race team or a baseball or football team. It takes a whole team, and we start as early as we can. Ricky's got not more time on his hands because he travels all over the country. But at least he's got people in place that can help him try to scout out partners and scout out sponsors and scout out things like that. So I mean, it even takes as much as now we've hooked up with the t-shirt company that he hooked me up with that does his UARA stuff.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point where with that being said, it's taken and made it easier for us because we did it all through through different areas, so to speak, and trying to now we've got them online. We've got where people can actually purchase them. I've got a lot of people that have come to me and actually said, hey, I got my jacket. I'm going to wear it to the Bigley when it comes, and that's pretty amazing. And that's just, it's Austin and Nicole at Short Track Heroes, and they're out, I'm pretty sure, Oregon.
Okay.
And they've been awesome to work with. They've done a great job. I've got a bunch of just short sleeve black and gray shirts that I'm going to bring to the track. And if anybody wants to, you can order them online, and they're still trying to fill the orders to get it to you before the event and things like that. So it's been really cool. Like I said, again, it's another partner that we've got on our side to help us, so.
Yeah, it like you're saying, it is a full everyone, all hands on deck, especially to make something like how we have talked. It's 30,000 to win, 1,200 to start. That's there's no race, and 4 tires. There's no other race in the Southeast that is that competitive of pay. And like you also said earlier, even if you don't make the show, you still get the chance to come in and race in the non-qualifiers race, and that pays. I believe it's 1,200 to win. Correct?
I think it's 1,600.
600, yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I think it's like 600 or in that range to start, 600-700 to start.
Yeah.
For a 50-lap race. So I mean, it's not bad. You know what I mean? At least you don't go home empty-handed. You don't go home where, like I say, you don't go home and just say, "Hey, pat on the back, thanks for showing up. We'll see you next year." Yeah. I mean, I understand why it happens because it's very expensive to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
But again, on both sides of the fence, it's very hard. It's very expensive for the track to maintain a track and to pay a person like that and to do what they have to do. And it's also very expensive for us as racers to go to an event like that, So the only thing that's really awesome for me is, and people are saying, well, it's kind of like cold the way you say it, but this Friday, or not this Friday, but next Friday will be the anniversary of my dad's passing. So being on that weekend, he passed away on November 28th, 2014. He went to sleep on Thanksgiving evening and didn't wake up on the next day, which was the 28th on Friday, which a week from Friday is the 28th on a Friday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be actually the same day on his passing, which a lot of people are like, well, but to me, that's like honoring him on that day.
Yeah.
So it's really cool for me, and at first people were like, no, we don't need to have it on that day, like Joe and Janet had said. And I'm like, no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because we've tried it in September, we've tried it in early October, we've tried it in late October, and we always kept getting rain at one point or another.
He was telling you no.
And that's why he took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, hey, that's him saying, look, I'm showing you the Thanksgiving weekend. And the only downside of it is there's a lot of guys that, have to, either leave and bring their family to drive down, and if they come from far away and have Thanksgiving in the back of a kind of like mobile home. I mean, not mobile home,
RV
motor
or
home or anything
something.
like that, RV or something. But the thing is it's like it just works for that weekend. I know it's the week before the snowball, and that makes it a little bit tough for some people that don't have multiple cars and stuff. But I mean, right now we're at like 50, 50 prepaid,
Yeah, I was
which is
gonna say,
pretty
but it's not
outstanding.
hurting. It's not hurting the car count or anything like that.
No,
I mean, yeah, but also
no,
it brings the people from up north. It's already cold. They're probably thankful
yeah,
to
yeah,
get
it's already
into the
freezing up there.
sunshine. And the past
Yeah,
several
they'd love
years, we've
to.
had great weather. It's been
Yeah.
not super hot, and hopefully, I mean, the weather's been amazing
Hmm.
down here the past week or so. So hopefully, we're on
Hmm.
track to have a nice 70-degree day. And
Yep, and that's what we looked at the forecast today, and it said lows around 50 and highs around 70, so it's perfect.
yeah, you couldn't ask for much better. The drivers love it,
No,
the track loves
yeah,
it, and
hmm
fans love it.
hmm for sure.
So what are some things kind of that it's the 10th annual, it's all,
Hmm.
and knowing that it falls on the exact days too. That makes it
Hmm.
extra special this year. What are some things you're kind of looking forward to as we are only 2 weeks away, really?
Yeah, I'm really not looking for anything special. I mean, I just, one thing that I started from the very first one is for myself personally is, I try to say hi to everybody there. Thank all the drivers. I'll talk in, one of the drivers meetings or driver crew chief meeting or something, and then just say, hey, just thank everybody for showing up, and and it's an honor to have them there, and it's the type of quality of cars that are there. And one thing that I started at the very first one is actually I'll be on the starting grid, and as they introduce the drivers and stuff, they go to their car. I go to each driver and I shake their hands and I tell them, thank you so much for coming, and be safe, good luck, and have fun. That's the biggest thing. I mean, it's like my dad always said, that he, excuse me, that he ended up. The biggest thing is somebody asked him, quite a few years before he passed away, and they said, Bill, when are you going to ever stop racing? He said, when I'm done having fun.
Yeah.
When the fun is there no more, then I will quit. And apparently the fun didn't stop because he did it all the way to his passing. So, Dylan and I had actually raced together in a 100 lap race on a Sunday afternoon, like 2 weeks before he passed. Um, we were at Auburndale,
Mhm.
and I ran third and he ran fifth in a 100 lap race. And my dad, he had, you saw nothing but a smile all the way home. He had so much fun. He enjoyed himself. I mean, and there was a fair amount of cars there that day. I mean, there was probably 25, 28 cars there. We ran third and fifth, both in the top five, and he was tickled to death, So that's what, put a smile on his face, or not just his, my wife's, my mom, my grandkids, be there and stuff like that. So just putting a smile on everybody's face. And it just, everybody, I want to go have a great time, and let's go, to basically a party, and let's have a race breakout. That's what I want to do. That's what I've intended to do every week, every year, and just go have a good time, and may the best person win,
Yeah.
and we'll all lick our wounds of whoever beats us, and then we'll try again next year. So the Freedom Factory's been gracious. They told us that they want to have it for multiple years to come. So it's a big stress relief off of me,
Yeah.
knowing that they're there with open arms to help us and be there for us. And they've been great to work with. I mean, anything that we ask or do or this that, they've been just really great. And we can't thank them enough for the events that they've not only put on for my dad's, but they've let us run the warm up. We first year was just the Bigley, and
Yeah.
then now we have a warm up to the Bigley, which has been great. And we run two or three sportsman races and two or three or four truck races, which has been phenomenal. I
Yeah.
mean, they keep an immaculate place. I mean, it looks good. It's real racy. We have fun doing it and stuff. And at the end of the day, we all go home and we enjoy ourselves doing it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the locals, especially because as we talked earlier, it was Freedom Factory was closed for several years, and so I know it
Hmm.
means a lot to obviously you and your family, but even the
Hmm.
locals that raced there for forever. It's so nice to
Hmm.
have a track, especially since we don't have 417, to have a
Right.
track still on that coast that's close to home that we can all go to.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's great to have it. It's great to like I said, to have an event in honor of my family and my dad, we couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, and especially with a place that means so much to you, and you got to go there so frequently with your
Mm-hmm.
dad too. I'm sure that
Oh yeah.
it's special to have it, especially once it reopened, kind of being you were the first late model race back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and then, like you mentioned, we've got the sportsmen, and now the sportsmen have also been added. The invitational. What is that
Mm-hmm.
kind of like?
It's pretty cool. Ricky asked me last year what I thought about it, and Ricky ended up having a few. Um, okay, and then Ricky asked me had taken and put the you're gonna have to edit this. Um,
Do
let me think here a minute. I drew a blank.
you want me to re-ask the question?
Yeah, re-ask the
Yeah.
question.
So what has it, Ricky? Last year he added the invitational for the sportsmen onto the Memorial Weekend. How did that kind of
Mhm.
come along or about, and how cool is it for you? Since Dylan also does race as sportsmen too, so he kind of gets to do a double header.
Right. Well, what had happened is last year, when Ricky had approached me, he says, "Well, what do you think about me bringing the sportsman not for a 75 lap race, but for a 50 lap race?" And I go, "Okay, explain." And he says, "Well, we do have a lot of laps. You figure if we have hypothetically, if we have 3 laps of 50 cars, that's 150 laps of on track time, and then we have two 25 lap races, and then if we have a 50 lap non-qualifiers race and 128 laps, I mean that's a lot of laps. But in saying that, there still was some downtime, to kind of get drivers, kind of get crews, kind of get everything re-energized, reorganized, and things like that to be able to proceed on. And he said, I said, well, it doesn't matter to me as long as it doesn't affect you know, the whole situation,
Yeah.
the whole night. If it doesn't affect it, and you would know that more than I would, then I'm good with it. So then last year when he did, he actually ended up making it a points race because he had gotten rained out so many times and had to cancel a bunch of, not a bunch, but 2 or 3 races that he ended up making the invitational an actual points race at the end of the year. Now this year it's not. It's just a truly invitational. So somebody had asked me, "Oh, are you gonna do the trucks next? Are you gonna do this?" That No, we're not. I mean, it's just, we're doing the sportsman. We're probably going to cap it at that.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of people asking about, well, you could run some races on Friday night, and it's like, but I don't want to lose the concept of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We want to give enough practice to fit for 50 cars that are there, and now 20 sportsmen.
Yeah.
So there's 70 cars on the ground that are gonna need practice. But in the meantime, and then after that, is we're going to have us a pit party, where we have Blackburn's barbecues coming in, and they're gonna do the after party, where we can go out there and have some great barbecue and sit around and bench race and have fun and talk to people and things like that. And it's just it's to kind of cap off an amazing Friday. And then we all kind of sit around over full and get some sleep and be ready to go for Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something awesome that Ricky does too with the pit parties after practice on
Mm-hmm.
Friday nights. I think that's a great way to kind of get the drivers and teams all together, especially it's Thanksgiving too. Like it's a good time for
Yep.
everyone to kind of sit around and see each other, hang out, and before the race, because you don't really get Saturday, every race day is so busy, you don't really get to time to enjoy each other's company, hang out, especially with other race teams that are coming from out of town. Since we do get so many from up north, it's an awesome event that he does.
Exactly. Exactly. It's really nice. And then, and again, I mean, it may not be much to some people, but it does save a few people some money to have to worry about going out and fighting lines and fighting crowds at restaurants and things like that, so then they can just stay right there and then either if they got hotels or if they have, motor homes or travel trailers that they have out in the parking lot, they can just go out there and crash for the night and be ready to go for the next day.
Yeah, exactly. It's a awesome event. And so earlier this week, I saw that you were invited to the Invitational. Is that something? Have you decided? Will you be racing the sportsman or?
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and try.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and give it. Yeah, we might as well. I mean, it's sitting here ready to go, and I had talked to Ricky on this past weekend and stuff, and he said that he had one person that was thinking about backing out because he wasn't going to have his car ready, and I just kind of threw it out there, and I'm like, well, and he said, well, you got a car, don't you? And I said, well, yeah, I do, and he said, so then, he had texted me and said, well, do you want to race? And I'm like, well, I mean, I want to concentrate on doing stuff because one of these days, hopefully before, I can't do it anymore, that I get to watch Dylan hopefully win one of these big ones,
Yeah.
And, but, I asked him if he really needed the car, and he says, well, I do, and I'm like, all right, then, he invited me, and then, and I texted him and told him I'd do it, so it looks like we're going to go ahead and bring my car up and go play a little bit and, try, hopefully we don't deter from Dylan's deal,
Yeah.
but, but we'll be all right. Like I said, I mean, we ran really good at the Memorial race last year. We had a pretty good showing at first in the warm up and we broke a rear end,
Yep.
so we feel that, we've got the rear end all fresh and back in the car and stuff like that. And he's actually, yesterday for like 8 hours, he worked on the setup on it and stuff. So hopefully we got a, pretty good idea and a pretty good understanding of what, he wants to do with it. So hopefully we can go there and, not have to thrash too hard on Friday.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like you were saying, last year at the Memorial race, he had a huge run. He finished what, fourth? I think it was fifth. Yeah. But he hard charge. He came to life. Like I've never seen anyone pass so many cars so fast. That was awesome.
Yeah, he did a really good job. I actually got stuck in the infield, which I wanted to be in case, needed a pit or whatever, but I didn't even have a radio or nothing. And so what had happened is I got stuck in there. I went to go across there. Like, no, you can't. And I'm like, okay. So then what ended up happening is he ended up, so I was watching the race from the infield, of course, which was fine. And so I was watching him because you get a little bit better perspective when you're down low like that and watching it, from the infield. And I could see where, some of the cars in front of him were holding him up. And so I got on the radio. I actually borrowed his wife, Kathy. I borrowed her radio. And I, under caution, and I said, look, I think you need to do this and this. And he's like, all right, I'll try it, and he did. And then it made a big deal. It helped a lot. And then I said, look, and I said, the next restart, I said, I want you to start on the outside. Because when we were there at the warm-up last year, he ran really well. And not this year, of course, but last year in 24.
Yeah.
And I think we finished sixth. And he was coming on at the end again. And so I told him, and I said, you need to start on the outside because I think that's your niche. I think that your car will roll on the outside pretty well. And once he got out there, and he could, kind of manipulate and pin people down, so they couldn't get a drive up off the corner. And he just started picking them off one by one, and it was like, I was like, wow, where did he come from? It was just unbelievable how well the car reacted on the outside.
Which is very uncommon there. Like if you have a car that can operate on the outside, you have a good car because it's, I mean, and it's gotten better since the first year we raced there, there really was nothing on the outside. Like if you got stuck on the outside on a restart, you knew you were just in for a ride till there was an opening. Right. But that's gotten, and I saw that even in the tune-up this year, it's gotten a lot better and it's gotten a lot more racy there on the outside, like you're saying.
It is, and it's enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
I mean, I know, the Freedom Factory, they've done a good job. They've done some patching and stuff like that, and things like that. But that place has so much character.
Yeah.
Right now. I mean, everybody says, "Oh, if they pave it, and they do this," and I don't want them to pave it.
No.
I want it to be like it is because it puts the kind of the driving back into the racer's hands.
Yeah.
Exactly. Instead of just having something where it's just stuck all the time, and you can just use all the horsepower you've got and and all that stuff. I would rather see it like it is right now. And after a 20, 30 lap run, if your chassis is not that good or your driver's abusing the tires,
yeah, you've got to fight for it.
They're going to fall off. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And like you're saying, you really got to figure out your car setup for the outside and you got to have it for both, which is a balance. Yep. And it's very different for both. But yeah, kind of starting to wrap things up. Where do you have any hopes to where you hope this event goes for the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
The biggest thing, I don't really have any I don't have any. I mean, my goal was just at first was to just have an event, and then to have the second, and then of course, when we left the Soto Speedway at the time, and then 417 picked it up. It was slowly getting better. It was slowly getting better. I don't really have any expectations because every expectation that has been met that I've ever even dreamed about having. So, I mean, true. Would we love to pay, X number of dollars to win and X number of dollars to start and have 100 cars in the pits? I mean, that'd be like phenomenal. That'd be like
The dream.
icing on the cake. Yeah, it would be definitely a dream come true. But, but again, I mean, it seems like every year, for a couple of years, we kind of idled around the 35 to 40 range, and then last year I think we had 42 or 43 showed up, and now and now we've got 50 prepaid, which again, you may gain a couple, you may lose a couple, but again, each and every year it just seems like it's getting more notoriety. I've heard so many people on different broadcasts and saying that it's turning out to be kind of a crown jewel race or statement race or something like that, and that means a lot. And who's helped that a lot, on my behalf is a guy up north, Jason Edmonds. He's up there and he spots for Ty when he's down here, and he got Ty to come. He's talked to Casey Johnson. He's talked to so many people up north to bring them down, and it's just an honor to have people that want to step up and help like that, on their own. I mean, I didn't even know him until he had just got a hold of me one day and said, he's up north pushing it. He goes to all these racetracks up in Wisconsin, Michigan, and, Indiana and all that, Illinois and stuff. And he's like, he's pushing the race. And I mean, and that's what it takes, and it's like the very first year that Ty was down here for 417. And I walked up to him before the race and told him, thank you for coming, and, be safe, be careful, and have fun. And I said, hopefully you'll come back next year. He said, you keep it on this weekend. We'll be back as many years as we can, and that meant a lot,
Yeah.
and I mean, he actually in some kind of a podcast or something had said that he's got 2 more races at the end of the year. He's got the Bigley and the Snowball. And just to have our name be in the same breath as the Snowball means a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing's been around forever, I mean, I ran it, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's been around since like either the late 60s or early 70s, and so to be in the same breath as somebody like a Ty Majeski, or, Rich Bickle's been down here and he's won the Snowball like 3 or 4 or 5 times. And, it's just amazing that, like I said, it's taken off like this. And I mean, you just don't know. You don't want to pinch yourself because you don't know when you're going to wake up from the dream.
Yeah.
But it's been great. And everybody that's helped, and there's too many people to mention, but everybody that is picked up the phone to call somebody to come, or to email somebody or text somebody or things like that. They're all involved. They've all helped make this thing to be what it is today. It's not, like I said, it's not any one person. It's not any 100 people. It's all of us.
Yeah, it definitely is a team effort. And you guys started it 10 years ago, and just to see, 10 years really isn't that long of a time for a race, as we've mentioned, and to see how far it's grown in just those 10 years, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's been great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we are looking forward to seeing you here in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. We'll be there.
Yes.
We'll be there having fun with smiles on our face.
And just to kind of wrap it up a little bit, let us know where our tickets are for pre-sale, I believe, and they can watch. If you can't make it to the track, where can people tune in and watch it?
That's a very good question. I don't know that I can answer that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh.
I think it's on Racing America. If
You
I'm
are
not mistaken.
correct. I just got Alec over here. He did let me know it will be on Racing America.
It is on Racing America. Yeah.
Yes.
So so hopefully people can come out and and join us and stuff, and enjoy the activities and things like that. And and I mean, Cletus and his group, they put on a fantastic show. And then so we we're just really excited again to be there, and maybe one of these days we'll get Cletus in one of these late models and he can come join us.
I keep hearing rumors, but I have yet. I know he tested one a few years ago, I believe, but he did not race one. So yes, hopefully we can get him. It would be so cool to get him in one, especially now that he's raced Talladega and stuff. He has to race his own track in a late model.
Exactly.
So hopefully soon. And then also you can pre-order tickets on thefote.com. So be sure to, especially grandstand side, be sure you get your tickets so that you have a seat for sure.
Yeah. You go to Fote for that, and you go to the UARA either Facebook page or their website, and you can order T-shirts, long and short sleeve women's shirts. You can order jackets, either pullovers, hoodies, or zip-ups. You can order their white, gray, or black. And then also, to put out there that if anybody wants to sponsor laps, you can just go to, Robert Howe or myself, and then we can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, perfect. And that's something we didn't really touch on. Let's quickly kind of talk about the lap money, because I think that is something that's super cool that a lot of races don't promote that they do. But it's awesome for businesses to get involved, and just another way to kind of help the drivers get a little bit of extra money.
Exactly. If you have, a memory of somebody and they used to race, and if their number was 15 and you wanted to put up $20, because it's a minimum of $20, $20 for lap 15 and the 15th place guy, then what we do is we take all that, and they'll be in envelopes, and they get handed out after the race to each driver for what they won. And it's just a little bit, I think it was kind of crazy because Dylan's car owners, James and Sharon, that own the Sportsman that he drives, I think they put up one year, they put up 50 or $100 at some position, and it was so ironic that Dylan won that night.
That's funny.
And it was crazy, but yeah, it all goes, 100% of it goes to the drivers. And again, we can't do enough for the drivers. We can't do enough for the crew members to try to help them pay their way back home, and and make sure that they have enough money to get back home so that they'll want to come do it again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also your T-shirts, you'll have short sleeve T-shirts at the event too, correct?
Yes, I'm supposed to be getting them this week. I have 600 shirts that I ordered.
Wow.
Between small and 2X, gray and black. So I'll have them all at the track. We're going to be running up and down with it like a side-by-side. So if anybody wants them, you can just flag them down, and they'll be on a side-by-side, handing out and selling T-shirts all day Friday and all day Saturday. On Saturday, then we're going to also set up a tent over by Tech area.
Okay.
And we're also going to set up a tent on the grandstand side. As you walk through the gate, there'll be a tent there with, at least one or two people to hand out and sell shirts there.
Perfect. So everyone has an opportunity to be sure they grab their 10th annual Bill Bigley Memorial T-shirt. And yeah, we're excited, and we will see you here in about 2 weeks at the track.
We will be there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Racecar Engineering, 800-882-7231.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction. It's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it fast, just chillin'.